So the next question I got was, okay, if it's not necessarily a guarantee that being a former athlete or a former soldier will make you highly disciplined in the workplace, then who actually is the most disciplined in the workplace? Again, if you're not familiar with those two prior comments, I'd suggest take a look in the YouTube channel or LinkedIn. Take a look at those former videos. I talk about each one. But here's the thing. I actually do have an answer on this. Not all of the insights were statistically significant. This wasn't a big enough study, but this was several years ago. We tracked the behavior intentions and follow-through of a large group of people across 25 different groups in, I think it was 5 or 6 different companies, 5 different companies, teams of 25. Anyway, it was a pretty big group, but it was still finite. And the reason I say that is we asked a lot of questions as they came into the study. We wanted to know, have you played college sports? Have you played professional sports? Have you been an Olympian? We wanted to know if you'd been in special forces. We want to know if you'd been in specifically which one and what did you do? And then we asked a bunch of other questions that we were just curious about, like how much do you read? How many kids do you have? What other activities do you participate in? Because we really didn't know, just out of curiosity. So here was the interesting thing. There were 2 groups that significantly outperformed their peers when it came to self-discipline in the workplace. And I think if you saw this, you might not be too surprised. But here it goes. Okay, so group number 1, people who practice martial arts. Now, we didn't say specifically you have a black belt, but you currently practice martial arts. They turned out to be statistically significantly more disciplined and consistent in their behaviors than their peers. Then there's one that wasn't statistically significant, but it was really noticeable, actually, and it was those people who had 5 or more children. Now you can understand why we didn't have statistical significance. There were only a handful of them, but the interesting thing was actually there were no anomalies. I think it was like 5 people had 5 or more children in our study, and all of them performed in the top 10% of all participants in the study. So I don't know that I can actually claim causality there. It's maybe just a correlation because that might suggest, hey, you know what? If you really want to kill it in your job, go have a bunch of kids. And obviously can't say that, nor is that possible. But as somebody who just coincidentally has 5 children myself, there are certain aspects of it I believe because at times you know this if you're a parent. And when you went from no kids to 1, when you went 1 from 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, every time you climb that mountain, you get to points where you just think, I don't know if I can do this. There aren't enough hours in the day. And oh my gosh, structure, consistency, you start to realize like those things are absolutely essential. Systems are absolutely essential just to get groceries. So anyway, I thought that was sort of fun. It was an interesting insight. And here's the one thing too I'd say about martial artists. I really believe anybody can get into martial arts. So is the finding actually suggesting that there is a type of person? I don't know that it is. Yes, I do have some thoughts on that. I've shared them in other videos. But specifically, I don't know that it's martial arts. Here's the thing. I think when you say you are practicing martial arts, what you're telling me is I make a routine, disciplined choice to submit myself to the authority, process, and structure that's been created by somebody else. If you're in martial arts, you know this. Almost, I don't know of any that don't, but of those I know of, there is a belt system. There are specific things you have to do to get your first belt and to move from one to the next. And what that means is you have incredible clarity. You have clarity of your goals. You have clarity of what you need to do to be effective. You've got usually an environment where people all working together and they're developing these disciplined practices. So what it tells me is it's not necessarily that there's something magic about martial arts or the people who practice it. But when I find somebody who's currently practicing martial arts, they have discipline in their lives. And I think that's what allows them to bring that discipline with them to work. So I do think there's a couple of interesting nuggets in there. I wouldn't run too far with it and say, oh my gosh, we're only hiring black belts. But I do hope that's helpful. And I would say, if you're thinking about it, yeah, join up, give it a try. Get involved in karate or taekwondo or one of these programs, because and I won't even claim to know them all. I know there are quite a few. But getting into that very structured experience, I really believe will bring a halo effect into your work. All right, hope that's helpful. Have a great day.